right. All right, everybody. Tuck in. Open up your snacks now and don't do it later when we're in the middle of the show, because this is popcorn and beers where some use tomatoes and others use thumbs. We use the stuff that gets you drunk. Got a nice dry Asahi import. Keeping up with the imports thanks to Fry. Ooh, when the mist flies away. Welcome, Jordan.
Hey, how you doing?
Not bad. You know who's not here?
Good. The Fry Guy.
Fry Guy's a loser. He's going to pop in and out. We'll do the magic thing that we usually do. Like this. Say hi.
I'm so tired. Bro, I'm so tired.
Oh, that was great. Anyway, wow. So we got some movies going on. We got some things happening. The first week of November wasn't too bad, even though it is a little slow all around. Like, no one's really put anything out lately, have they? Like, we kind of just been casual besides the Marvels.
Yeah.
Did you get the chance to see it, Jordan?
I sure did. And I'm not a big proponent of 3D in theater, but it was the most convenient time for me to see it. Happened to be in 3D, so I caught it in 3D. I'm a glasses wearer, obviously. So yeah, it's glasses on glasses, not comfortable. And I don't feel like it adds that much to the movie. It's not really 3D. It's like maybe slightly better definition, kind of, it seems like, but it just doesn't warrant it enough for me. But sidebar that, I didn't like this movie.
Whoa!
I like the characters. I like all the characters. It's just it was a really short movie. It's an hour and 45 minutes. And, it's just, there's a lot of antics going on.
It was the antics, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of silliness, a lot of antics, and for it being such a short movie, there was way too much. Like, they rushed the plot just so that they could have a lot more silliness in this movie. And I just don't feel like it helps the female ensemble superhero genre.
Oh, like they're not okay. They're like really not helping themselves by doing antics, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's fun. The antics are always fun in these Marvel movies, but I just feel like there's a trend kind of with the She-Hulk and that, to where it's like, oh, let's make this really not take itself. Like, they don't take themselves seriously. Nobody takes them seriously. You know what I mean? It just doesn't help. There was some silliness in there that I did enjoy, just personally. I know some other people are just going to hate it super hard. The Flurkins, which are the cat creatures with tentacle monsters that come out.
Do not run from the Flurkins.
I loved that when they're trying to corral everyone to be eaten by the Flurkins to.
Well, a big spoiler there.
I mean, it was funny. I loved it, and also, God, I guess my review is full of spoilers. I don't even know if I want to say that, but
go ahead.
The solution to the problem, the overarching problem that spanned Captain Marvel's, I don't know, couple decades of her timeline, her life, she could have solved like that. Like the way that she ended up fixing her problem was so simple. How did nobody think of that sooner?
All right, it's not a spoiler by saying this. The solution was try really hard.
Yeah.
That's it. Because she did, just a clarification, she did not use the... Because I thought they were going to do that. Like, oh, that's how she can... No, she just flexed a little harder than usual. Anyway, you're right. You're totally right. Could have avoided her whole career.
Yeah, pretty much. The antic I really hated in this movie was the Planet of Singing People.
Ooh, boy, Disney faux show.
That was god awful. I leaned over to the person I was with watching the movie, and I was like, I hate this.
Well, I did not, but I'll get to that later. Go ahead.
Okay. They did a good job with the switching, how they use their powers, and they switch places, and they learn to kind of hone it and fight that way. And I thought they did that pretty well. That was cool. And there's just a great mid-credit scene. No end credit scene. There's just one, and it's a mid-credit scene. I thought it was great, but I'm going to give this movie a popcorn. It was awful.
Wow, just straight awful with it, huh? Okay, well,
I did not like it.
I differ, bro. First of all, starting with
Mm.
what you said, I am confused by like why do we have to make why do we have to make the 3D glasses cool and sleek when we used to have the goggles? That would be really helpful
Mm.
for you, wouldn't it? They could
Yeah.
cover.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So, in the purpose of being sleek, you've hindered people.
It's just straight sight privilege.
Sight
Not all of
privilege.
us are sight. Not
You're
all of us are
sighted,
sight
dude.
privileged.
Um,
Yeah.
they're being blind to the disabled. Anyway,
Yeah.
I thought the 3D glasses element actually. I'm either or with 3D. I do hate it when a movie is intentionally 3D, like throwing knives at the camera. Like, come
Mm.
on, that was a cool gimmick. Once we saw it, that's it. You can't do it again. It's not. It's corny, dude. But
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
didn't really utilize that. Instead, what they did was they just used it to show great distances. Honestly, to me, that's what I saw. They had big fat shots that were like they showed like the surface of a moon, for instance, or whatever, and there's like towers way off in the distance, and it showed you that
Hmm.
dimensionality. Is that a word? And
Yeah.
it
Sure.
not over the top, not too much, just a nice little touch. I would suggest seeing it in 3D if you have the cash, basically.
Mm.
It had some pretty strong fight scenes. They were all antic-y. Almost all of them had antics involved, but they also had some pretty good storytelling with the choreography, how the characters react to each other, how they react off of each other. The family was involved in one of them. It was pretty cool. Fun
Yeah.
banter. I
Hmm.
thought it was pretty good for like a I don't know. I say the whole film is like a sisters united kind of thing, and I don't say that in a derogatory way. I think it was cool. I think it was welcome. I liked it, but I also like She-Hulk, and I think the standards of Marvel movies, people's standards of Marvel movies, is unfair. It's
Yeah. I wasn't throwing shrapnel when I mentioned She-Hulk. I did like
mhm.
She-Hulk too. So
Oh yeah, I'm not talking about you. Excuse me. I was just talking about
yeah.
the
Yeah. No. No.
jerks.
No. 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 Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Like you're allowed to not like those shows. This show, but doing the whole like they have an agenda and using what do they call it, propaganda. Get all these, every superhero movie is propaganda. Just a
Yeah.
little kiss from me to
Mhm.
you, little hint.
Mhm.
Anyway, I liked the montage about like the powers jumping, like you said. Thought that was pretty cool, and the like retired dad role that Sam Jackson has taken on. I thought that was like heartwarming. It's a heartwarming show
Yeah.
somehow. Like they're all like hugging, and Kamala Khan's actor is a natural, and I can't wait to see her more. She's
Yeah.
just adorable, and there's nothing you
I
can say
said the
about it.
exact same thing walking out. I was
She's
like, yeah, she's very enjoyable on screen.
she's just plain adorable, dude. There's nothing you can
Yeah.
say about it. She had such expression, and she hit it in the right ways. Her timing was great. And shout out
Yeah.
also to Captain Rambo's actor. She did a great job. I liked her style. Officially the biggest back in the MCU. I like how she didn't take on the whole superhero role seriously. She's just a woman doing her job. MCU, they're on a cool track for me as far as I'm concerned. But the Flirkin scene is one of the greatest horror scenes I've ever seen.
Yeah. Right.
If you
That's
had
good.
the if you had a this shows like the importance of soundtrack. If there was a different soundtrack, it would be terrifying.
Yeah.
But they had this they had it all down. It was actually like an incredible moment in cinema, or CG elements, if I could be so bold. Yeah, I give it a popcorn and one. I give it a popcorn and one. Yeah, it was a good movie.
Yeah. Also, I forgot to mention the villain. The one thing that really bothered me throughout the whole movie, the villain, she acted it good. She was good. But her character has like like a grill kind of thing
Yeah,
in and like some silver teeth and stuff. And I felt like the actress or whatever was trying purpose, like she talked through her teeth a lot
teeth
to like
talking.
show off like it was cool looking. So she's like trying to show it off, and in every scene I felt like I don't know,
Yeah, she
that
was
bugged me.
very well, it's common. I'm not sure if anyone's noticed. I mean, I'm sure everyone's noticed, but a little cinema tactic. The pretty women keep their mouths open even just a little bit, no matter what. Go look back at
Mhm.
all the women. So she was using that tactic to the extreme. But she did have a really cool grill thing. Like, that was
Yeah, she
pretty cool.
did.
So I
Yeah.
wasn't mad about it. I was
Yeah.
like, let me see that again. Let me see. You gonna do it? Yeah, he did it. All right.
Yeah.
She had a very good facial expression. She had a good psycho face. Yeah, I forgot to mention her. She was a better villain than perhaps the other guy whose place she took in the canon. I forgot his name.
Ronan?
But
Ronan?
Ronan. I thought she was a better villain than Ronan in this. Not that she was more imposing or whatever, but more like she had at least a little bit more backstory to deal with, other than I will destroy, whatever.
Yeah.
Let's hear what Fry has to say.
The Marvels, I liked it, and here's the thing: it was bad writing. The writing was bad, and I know it. And you go for too many tear jerking scenes, but at the end of the day, like if you just sit back and you watch this, you're like, wow, they created a whole universe. And whenever there's a cameo, you're like, oh, I remember that from that thing, or oh, I remember that from that movie, and oh, that person gets tied in. Like I thought there was Doctor Strange things going on here, Spider-Man things going on here. There was Loki things going on here. It was
Thor
so
things, for sure.
Yeah. There was so much that I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna look past the corny writing. The the surprise. I don't know if I could say it without spoiling it. The fact that this movie's a musical really threw me off. I was not expecting the movie to be a musical, and they did a good job of keeping that aspect of this film secret.
Yeah, surprise, Disney owns this.
Here it goes. Camilla Khan, again, she is right on that borderline for me of super annoying versus super cool and super fun to see her in the movie. I think her family is the best part of her character, to be frank. Her family made me laugh.
That is her character. Yeah, I think they'll... Yeah.
Her family made me laugh every single time they were in the movie.
Yeah.
Her father talking to one of the crew members about how to diversify his portfolio for retirement. How old are you? 327.
Same.
I thought there were one-liners like that throughout the film that were very funny. I will say that if you are somebody that's looking for a large explosion at the end, I don't know that this is a Marvel film for you. You don't really get that. You get a lot of closure in a way that may not be satisfying for those that need the violent aspects of Marvel. Because you don't get the violent aspects of closure. For me, I will say Brie Larson is much more relatable in this film as Carol Danvers. It was probably her best acting role in a Marvel role for me. She's in a Marvel role. She's an Academy Award-winning actress, but in a Marvel film.
Yeah, The Room and all that.
I thought she was great. Maria Rambeau was a lot. So it was like Maria Rambeau, though, took the Carol Danvers character from Captain Marvel, and now she's Captain Marvel's I'm very serious, don't call me kid character. And then Brie Larson's Captain Marvel became a little bit softer. And you see why. The cats, I couldn't get enough. The cats were amazing. The cat.
Yeah. I was telling Jordan, one of the best horror scenes of all time, but they made it funny.
With the cats.
Yeah.
And you hear the announcer in the background on the PA talking.
Yeah, please stop running. Please stop running. That's wonderful.
You will be fine. But yes, the cat scene was good. It was a fun movie overall. I'm gonna give it a pop 1. It's another bridge movie. You can start to see right now they're bridging a lot of things, right? We're gonna the trilogy films are going to be the culmination into the new Avengers films. And of course you get Haley Steinfeld is going to lead the Young Avengers, but for some reason they're painted as it's going to be Camilla Khan, but it can't be. It's Haley Steinfeld's. What's that?
It's Shang-Chi, dude.
No, he's going to be an Avenger, but he's already in the adult Avengers. When they did the Avengers,
you're right. They're going to double up.
Yeah, right. But when they do the Avengers take on Galactus, remember it was Iron Fist, Danny Rand, thank you. Danny Rand and Luke Cage and Daredevil and some other ancillary, Wolverine, they come to help the Avengers take on Galactus because the Avengers get tied up. So
cool.
Yeah, so Shang-Chi is a member of like the big boys, the big group, big boys and girls.
I forgot they're going to have a double Avenger, probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
But who
So
really knows? Since MCU is all like shuffling around right now, heavy.
where's Moon Knight going to be? What's going to happen with Moon Knight? What's going to happen with Winter and Falcon?
And then
So
whatever the heck they've revealed. Dang. Big old reveal in this one.
yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Well, and it ties into the reveal. That's what I'm saying. There's some other. If you've been keeping up with this phase of Marvel and you've been seeing these movies, the Spider-Mans, the Doctor Stranges, I mean, maybe that universe that existed in one of those films comes into play.
Yep.
Now,
Yep.
like I said, I'm gonna give it a pop one because I appreciated everything they did, and if you just sit there and take in what they've created over the last decade plus, it's pretty awesome. Like it's pretty cool to be able to watch them and be like, oh, I remember them for that movie.
Huh. All right. Well, let's get on to the drunk classic. I picked it this time. This is a movie, historical fiction, romancing even, Far and Away, one of Tommy Cruise's 1992 films with Nicole Kidman. This might have been the movie that got them together. I couldn't say for sure, but okay.
I looked into that. It's part of my spiel, but that was Days of Thunder. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, Days of Thunder. Well, yeah, go ahead and get it started, Far and Away, and do it in your best Tom Cruise Irish accent.
Oh God, that's literally the first note in my thing is an Irish accent doesn't work on Tom Cruise.
Even if he's good at it, and he's not exactly
He's good at it.
He's good enough.
He's okay. He's good. It just doesn't. It didn't work with him. It doesn't fit with him. He's too all-American boy looking.
They did a good job making him look a
roots.
little bit podunk, though, just slightly podunk in the beginning.
So yeah, what I had to say about the whole Nicole Kidman, like they're good. They have good chemistry together on screen, but yeah,
Certainly.
just the real world implications of that and him and his weirdness. Yeah. There's always a shadow over Tom Cruise. Like he's a good actor, and you want to like think of him as like this great American film icon, but he's just a weirdo. He's just a weirdo, and you can't escape that.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. You really do have to put yourself in a box. Like, okay, this is when Tom Cruise was hunting for Oscars, and this is when Tom Cruise wasn't fully out and about the Scientology. He was in there, but he wasn't out and about quite as much. And he was still an up-and-comer, even though he was established.
You know, it was a good movie. I liked the different elements of it, the way it evolved through the different problems that they were having. You know, it starts in Ireland. That's a cool segment. The boxing and all that, cool segment. The heading west, cool segment. It flowed very well.
Acts.
Yeah, it flowed very well. I liked the line where Tom Cruise is following the landlord to his house, hunting him more or less, and things keep going wrong. I don't know, his horse runs off, something like that, and he goes, "This is a difficult murder."
Forgot about that.
Yeah. Okay. Just that one caught me off guard. I was kind of watching this while doing chores, and that line just kind of stopped me in my tracks. Like, can you just have to say that and point that out right there?
Did you did you get the feeling that whole scene was definitely like absolutely in a studio? Like clearly, it wasn't a Rosebush maze or anything. It was definitely in a studio. All the fog, the close lighting.
Yeah, it was definitely very cheesy, you know, very
there was some cheese.
Some good cheese, some a little bit over the top moments. One of those movies where, and gosh, how do I say it without sounding like, you know, sexist, but it was just one of those movies where the female character, the lead, is just unraveling things constantly, like doing the counterproductive choice almost every time, except the end. She redeems herself. But she's just kind of having a hard time when the fortunes are reversed and just doing everything to make Tom Cruise's path more difficult.
That's true. To a good extent. Yeah, most of it was like, come on.
Yeah. But I mean, it's not her fault. She's her background in the movie is the, you know, spoiled rich girl with these ambitions and very naive, you know.
But so often in the show, it's like an over and over thing. Like, you're gonna learn
Yeah,
someday, little girl. You know what I mean? But that happens. That happens maybe in excess. I don't know.
yeah. Another one of my favorite scenes is on the race, the claim stake race. You know, there's wagons flying all over the place and
Mm-hmm.
horses falling over, and then there's just a guy on one of those goofy like Centennial bikes with the big
Mm-hmm.
wheel in the front, and he's
Yeah.
trying to race on that thing, and it just goes flipping over like
You're
I don't
going
know
to
what
get
he was
killed out
expecting
here,
there.
dude. Like, why are you trying to
Yeah,
be funny? Like,
yeah.
that's the hipster. That's what it is. It's the hipster from back then, the poet.
It was great. I loved that. Um, I'm going to give this movie a popcorn and two. It's well done. I'm going to put, yeah, it was popcorn and two. It was good.
Popcorn and two. I'd say it's a good popcorn and two movie. This I thought of this movie when Fry threw out Lucas. Was that what it was called? The football movie that's not
Mm-hmm.
about football.
Yeah.
Um, that was his mom's comfort movie, I think he said. And this was my mom's
Mm-hmm.
comfort movie, one of them. That and Three Musketeers, that's coming someday. But I've watched this movie a lot. It was just one of the VHSs that we popped in at least once a month. We just, Far and Away is on, let's do chores. I do have a fondness for it. I didn't remember it being as good as it was. I thought it was worse than it was, but it's a pretty dang good movie. It's got a lot of good callbacks that or setups, I guess. So in the beginning, did you catch this about the father about to die and the camera goes away, then the camera stops and then
Mm-hmm.
goes back into him? The same thing happened at the
Yeah.
very end to Tom Cruise, so that was cool. And then it shows Tom Cruise like having to fight his big brothers. He's fighting two at one, getting his ass kicked on a downhill slope, and he's still willing to kill him. And he's
Yeah.
still willing to drive a farm with a donkey and get spuds, even though the rent is due to someone and the taters are for someone else. Like, the fighting aspect shows in why he's allowed to fight or is so good at fighting. But I had to laugh
Huh.
every time. I noticed every time he was in a fight, he did the move where he ducks under, spins all the way around, and gives him a kidney punch. Like,
Yeah.
when does a boxer spin all the way around? But that was his like signature move.
Yeah.
I guess it was good for the camera. Ron Howard probably told him to do it or allowed it to happen. Shout out Ron Howard. I forgot this is a Ron Howard movie. I looked it up. I don't think there was many awards, if any, for Far and Away, but there was a lot of competition back then. You forget, like, some years are a little heavier than others. The early 90s was full of it. Like, it was big time for Hollywood. Big time for Hollywood. And that's probably what spurred Planet Hollywood, was all these banger movies in the first 4 years of the
Mm-hmm.
90s. Like, killers. So a lot of competition. Anyway, I like the movie. Cool. Interesting that it also took place like in my backyard. Like, we saw Killers of the Flower Moon, and then we saw the whole Boomer Sooner part in the end. A lot of Oklahoma goings on. I don't know what to think about it, but it was cool. A nice redemption story for her, for him fulfilling his destiny because he fought hard enough. The "we're super broke in the streets" scenes were really kind of heartfelt and beautiful, and one of the more romantic things I've ever seen. It was nice the landlord even got his redemption. He left everything behind and became a settler, old man as he is. It's a warm movie. Popcorn and two. What do you think, Fry?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we also had a drunk classic by Josh. And I'm not gonna lie, the whole time I was doing this, I was like, why does he always pick films he knows I'm just gonna be pissed off I have to watch? Like, why does he keep doing this to me?
What?
And then I was like, I feel like he wants to attack me for no reason at all.
I figured you'd really seen it.
But I
Honestly.
hadn't seen it yet. And after I watched it, when I watched it for a while, I was like, nope, haven't seen this one. But the death scene with Tom Cruise's dad was really funny, and I kind of sat down at that point and really started watching it because that made me laugh. He could die twice. It was funny. The racist stereotypes there, oddly on the white end of things, but there was quite a few racist stereotypes. There was also a casual sexual assault that went on. Nicole Kidman casually sexually assaults Tom Cruise, and a bit of foreshadowing there comes back to She says, "I loved you from the moment I saw you," and in my head, I was like, "You looked at his penis." That was the first
That's
act.
love. That's love.
That's when you knew you loved him, when you saw his penis.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very confused. I did like how the movie, and I did like that it was a Ron Howard picture, but
yeah, I forgot about that.
How the movie flips the roles, right? In Ireland, they hold two roles, and then when they first get to New York, they start to work, and then their roles reverse as Tom Cruise's character becomes more wealthy, more affluent, more popular. I love This Is America scene where it's like, we'll get you to work and then we'll get you to vote when it's time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, there's America. Hey, we got you. As long as you vote for us and keep us in power. The rich guy tries to steal Nicole Kidman, who they all think is his sister. So why is this weird, right? There's just some scenes there. The director puts them, the director and writers put them through every single tribulation that's possible, and like
yeah, very Forrest Gumpy kind of.
Yeah,
you know?
Your house burnt down. Run to America. Here, you're gonna get, have to live in a one-bedroom whorehouse together. You're gonna get thrown out into the cold in the depths of winter. Break into a house and they're gonna find you there and beat the crap out of you. The only people that can save you are the people that hate you. And I was just like, how many bad things could go wrong for these people?
It was a pretty good show though, like as far as historical stuff and how like you got maybe one chance if you're lucky to get it right in America back then. Like one thing goes wrong and you're done. Like that's it.
You die. Yeah. Overall, I like the movie. I do not like that the rich win again. Like they cheat to get their land. Her mother and father just cheat and they win. Like I was like, oh, they're obviously gonna get shot, and that's how this has to end. That'd be a great ending. Like, but you don't. Hey, rich people, you don't always get to win. Nope, Fry, you're wrong.
To do that.
The rich won. Why couldn't we do it with the broke people? Why did
it
we
was
do
nice
it with
that he had an arc? Like he was like the depressed. I'm so rich, I'm sad about it, and then like he turns his life around by cheating and getting away with it.
And then also her betrothed, the guy that they wanted her to marry, he loses to Tom Cruise and then just doesn't want other land for himself. Maybe builds his own life. He just like rides off and is like, never mind, I hate America. Door. Yeah. Like that's what I thought Tom Cruise is gonna do the whole time I was watching. I was like, he's just gonna grab the flag in the next acreage and then they're neighbors. Deal with your wife being in love with Tom Cruise for the rest of your life, guy.
He's gonna move back to New York or San Francisco and be with Dharma. He's Greg, right? Isn't he Greg? Yeah. Dharma and Greg.
Dharma and Greg. But also, how about the unnecessary fight? Like Tom Cruise's character had already won. He'd already made it there. And instead of planting his flag, no, I'm gonna run back and fight this guy on the we'll play your flag first and you're set. Like you've made it. If you just stick your flag in the ground before you fight him, the fight could take place after, and now you got a big stick. Now you can hit him with a big old stick because you have it because it's attached to a flag. So for me, I gave it a pop 1. I thought it was fun. I think I texted you right after. I was like, you know what? Not a terrible movie. The movie was fun.
It's watchable.
Yeah. The most ironic part is it's free land. We've marked it in parcels for all this free land. And as the gun goes off, it's just all the Native Americans watching all the white people stealing their land. And I was like, this is such an interesting shot choice because here they go to take the Native Americans' land, and it's not free land; it's theirs, and you just stole it from them.
Someone should take that 2-second clip and turn it into an entire movie with just like dialogue. Just whatever's on their minds. Let's just hear that. It could be a comedy too.
Yeah.
What's next? What people have been watching? You been watching stuff?
I think so. I watched something. Not about stuff. I watched the Ari Aster film, Beau is Afraid, starring Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin. I like Joaquin.
I watched it courtesy of Alaska Airlines.
Oh.
But it might be available on rent somewhere. Probably coming to some free streaming service pretty soon. This is a 3-hour-long film, but it's a slow moving train wreck that you don't really want to look away from, honestly. So it's basically a look inside the mind of a paranoid, anxious, agoraphobic, hypochondriac, whatever other phobia mental disorder you can imagine, kind of combined into one. Norman Bates type crazy man. And the whole time you're just kind of trying to figure out what's real. Joaquin Phoenix was incredible. He plays a crazy person, kind of a la Joker. He plays that role, kind of borderline. The sympathetic, I don't want to, I don't know, I keep saying crazy, but, some people have these things and it doesn't really make you, I don't mean that derogatorily, but he just plays that role, the sympathetic kind of unhinged man, very well.
Yeah, he plays a kind of crazy that's more realistic.
Yeah. So the movie is 3 acts, pretty much, and yeah, it's hard to figure out which one is more unsettling and more random, and it's weird because the plot sneaks in and out of the movie. And a lot of the time you feel super lost, but not in a way that you ever feel that disinterested.
Oh.
It always kind of pulls you back in. It's just super avant-garde, artsy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And there's a scene, super triggering scene in the beginning of the movie where he is freaking out. He's having a full meltdown and he runs to a police officer, help me. And the cop is like, basically draws his gun on him and is like, put the thing down, stop shaking, stop moving. But he's so freaked out, he's like having this mental breakdown. And it's so perfect of how cops aren't trained to deal with these, mental health issues.
Yeah.
People have these breakdowns and they call the police and the police are there to, yeah, I thought that was very, very poignant for what's going on, what happens a lot too much. This movie has the top 5 craziest sex scene I've ever seen. Insane. Top 5 craziest mother characters you'll ever see in any movie. It's a head scratcher. Like I said, you never know what's real. It has, I don't know if any of our audience or you have ever seen, I know me and Fry have talked about it, Sorry to Bother You.
No, I haven't actually. I've been meaning to.
Yeah, it has a Sorry to Bother You level crazy ending where just everything you think just kind of quickly unravels and it ends just in a very what the hell did I just watch way. Very abruptly. But still, I'm going to give this movie a popcorn and 2, and I don't know why it puts a knot in my stomach to do that because it was such a weird movie. But it was just so well done.
Beau is Afraid, huh? The way you described it, it reminds me of a movie, speaking of DC villains. Bronson? Have you seen Bronson?
No.
Well, Joaquin played Joker. Tom Hardy played Bane. So 2 DC villains make crazy movies, introspective psycho stuff. It's a very avant-garde type of, mostly inside of his mind type of thing. So I'd suggest that to put on the list. Maybe I'll drunk classic it sometime because it's one of Tom Hardy's most incredible films. Anyway, that's cool. I'm definitely going to put that on my list, see Beau's Afraid, because you're not the first person who told me to watch it. Yep. And that's all you saw?
Yeah, that was it. Busy week.
Well, what I've been watching was I didn't watch a whole lot. To start, once again, sitting with my father watching movies. We watched Bad Boys. He likes that kind of stuff. I do too. Bad Boys is a popcorn and 2 movie overture alert where they just play music and show you scenes from the city or whatever. But the song is cool. I forgot the Bad Boys theme before it was Shake Your Tail Feather. It was this song. Shout out to Téa Leoni, the female lead in the movie. She starts off as just this like regular girl actor playing type person, the sex symbol type, but she's quick and smart, and now she's Madam Secretary. You remember that show? You seen that show?
I've heard of it.
So she's got a long career. I didn't know it went so far back as Bad Boys, and I forgot she's really pretty as a brunette. Bad Boys is great. There's not a lot you can say about Bad Boys. If you haven't seen Bad Boys, you're just a silly boy. It's really weird to see Martin Lawrence so skinny and young because he really got puffy like Josh, but he's a little puffier than I am. But I love it. I do think I always have thought it was weird. Like in the introductory movie for these 2 characters, that's potentially a franchise. They didn't know at the time, probably. But they invented these two characters that are really well carved out. They spend such a long time in the movie where they pretend to be the other one because of some undercover thing. So why we waste like half the movie with Martin Lawrence pretending to be cool Will Smith's characters. Mike Lowry, we all know him. But still a good movie. I give it a popcorn and too. Yeah, pretty good stuff. I also watched the Sly documentary, Sylvester Stallone documentary on Netflix. It was really interesting. He has so much memorabilia in his house, like a whole room designated for all his memorabilia. You know, it's a character choice. That's fine.
Yeah.
You know,
Does he have the cow on the meat hook that he punched in Rocky just hanging in the middle of the room?
I want to say he does, but I can't remember. He's got it all though.
Yeah.
It was interesting to hear the stories about those movies, and I forgot, honestly. Fry is a big time Sly head. I guess I'm Arnold overall because I have not cared about so many of his movies, Sylvester Stallone's movies. I didn't see Rocky till I was older. I didn't see Rambo at all until like this show showed me. I've seen the other Rambos, like the sequels, but not the first one really. But I've seen every Arnold show. Just about everything Arnold's done, I've seen it. Not Sly though. So I guess I'm a Sly guy in the for no reason rivalry. But I did not know Sylvester Stallone is I don't know about prolific. Maybe you could use that adjective, but definitely avid and a writer first. He's a writer more than he's an actor, even though he loves the acting. And he started writing because he wanted to act and stuff. Long story, you can watch the show yourself. The one thing I do want to mention, Sylvester Stallone had a sweater on the whole time whenever he was giving his talking heads. And the sweater had shoulder pads, guys. He couldn't show us his regular shoulders. He wanted to be a big boy, so he showed us shoulder pads. But the camera wasn't helping him because he would like shrug and you can see, oh, that's a shoulder pad. Like, so camera guy needs to get fired. Let's say that. I'd say it's a popcorn and one if you want to know stuff about Sly Stallone. Next, I watched a really cool movie that had Annette Bening, which also, Annette Bening was cameoed in the Marvels, so that's interesting. I watched Nyad, starring Annette Bening and co-starring Jodie Foster. I believe it's on Netflix, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a true story about a woman named Nyad, which means sea nymph. You get that story told multiple times in the movie, and you'll understand. But she's a woman who was a swimmer, and she swam from Cuba to Florida, the first human ever to have done that in human history. And she was 65 when she did it.
Wow.
So the movie is about this woman. She was famous for a while, relatively speaking, for a long-distance swimmer, and she did the English Channel so many times, etc. All kinds of crazy feats. At her prime, her last race, she tried Cuba to Florida, probably in her 30s, give or take, failed. And then just retired. 30 years later, she decides to pick it up and go for it. And, the movie's about that sequence. And it takes a while. She tries multiple times. The movie's about the crew that is required for that sort of thing. And they go into great detail about how important the crew was. There's sharks out there. There's jellyfish, box jellyfish. So she had a whole crew of engineers and pilots and care people in kayaks following her. Really interesting, going over the elements. It's a woman versus nature film for sure. But it's also about the best friend, Jodie Foster, who's also the coach. She's a professional coach, and she coaches Nyad into getting it done. And it's a total look at a narcissist versus codependent relationship. Nyad, the main character, Annette Bening, is Michael Jordan level, arrogant, cocky, ambitious, all that narcissistic behavior about like glory. That's who she is. And she really takes it home. This is Oscar bait for Jodie Foster and Annette Bening together. The scenes were really great. She starts to hallucinate at some point during the journey, the swim, and that's part of it. It's just what happens when you've been swimming for 60 hours, give or take.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was like a 2.5 day experience, something like that. And they use CG for that. It's an excellent use of CG. And it's really beautiful, and it hits in the right way. The storytelling, the cinematography, pretty dang good. And they mix it in throughout the movie with like clips of the real thing. So they're showing you what really happened, and they're showing you the movie, and it's like, shot for shot and all this. Beautiful film. I give it a popcorn and 2. It's a really inspiring, one of the better sports films in its own unique way I've ever seen. And that is, just because of the Marvels, I watched the Avengers again. What is this, the 4th time I've reviewed this? After this, I'm going to review The Crow, so hold on tight for that. Once again, Avengers is still one of my favorite Marvel movies. It's just a wonderful film. It wouldn't work today per se because the formula has changed, but that was a formula that was solid and never done before. Superheroes all meeting from different films. Just a great film. Nothing more to say about that. Popcorn and 3. Avengers is a popcorn and 3.
Yeah.
Now back to The Crow. Just kidding. What's the
You guys know it is my week for the Drunk Classic, and with Jordan's Almost Heroes, something popped into my head, and it's what a great actor Eugene Levy is, and
Yes.
how much I love Eugene Levy. So I picked one of my favorite Eugene Levy films, no, not American Pie, Best in Show, which is a parody film about show dogs and the people that own them. And it stars, Jane Lynch, obviously, like I said, Eugene Levy, and I think, Michelle Banks is in it as well.
Bunch of names, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of good people in it. Have you seen it?
I have not seen this. I was telling Jordan, neither one of us have seen it. So okay. I think that puts the score at by next week, we'll be at 12, 10, and you'll be 5 because of Far and Away. But I had seen For Your Consideration, which I think is the same team entirely.
Yeah. And this is Spinal Tap. It's the same team that did This Is Spinal Tap as well.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. It was one of my... So Almost Heroes is Jordan's. He's like, I just watch this all the time. And this was one of my feel-good movies growing up, because I love dogs, and I would just throw this film on. And there's just so many scenes in it that just make me start laughing out of nowhere. And I could just hear it, and I know exactly. I could put the whole scene in my head.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but they're going to the... dog competition, the show dog competition. It's in Philadelphia. All right, that is it for me. I appreciate you hopping on. I hope we had a good show this week.
So I think it's just an automatic consensus that we have to watch the Hunger Games prequel, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
Sure, that's probably right.
Something like that. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
Pretty cool trailer. That was on the Marvels. It's a pretty good trailer. And the guy who played Billy the Kid in that one series is in it. So he's a good actor. So good pick. I think that score puts, I haven't seen it. You haven't seen it. Fry, of course, has. So I think that puts me at 12. And I think you're at 10. And then Fry is at 5, I think, for this week. He hadn't seen Far and Away. Anyway, so we're going to see some Hunger Games, going to see some Best in Show. We'll see y'all next week. See you at the movies. And you bring the popcorn, and we'll bring the beer.